Dude, I can't believe you stole King Rold's crown. What's your thieving level? Dude, we're gonna be rich. Yeah, well, I couldn't have done it if you didn't replace it with that replica over there. I can't believe you got into a kebab eating contest with Checkle. That dude is a monster. Shit. Yeah, we better find a buyer for this quick. I think I know just the crowd who likes stolen goods just as much as stealing goods. Wait, Spoof, we have to do the standalone quests that are typically prerequisite quests to the main storylines featured in the video and can sometimes help set things up for a little more context, but not every time, but obviously this time because I mentioned it.
Till the leaves fall down, I'm in love. I'm in love with you. I'll be waiting around and around and around. I'll be waiting.
Everybody's favorite ogre, Rance, will bark some nonsense at us the moment that we meet him. I tell him, sorry man, I don't have any cash, I only carry cards, but he uses all of his strength to describe to us that he wants some stabbers. Luckily, Questman speaks ogre, and he's at least able to discern that Rance wants some arrows for his bow so he can hunt and eat a chompy bird for dinner. Pretty easy job for the day, honestly. Rance needs some arrow shafts from an achy tree, regular old feathers, and arrowheads made from canine bones. The trees are nearby, and I have the rest here because Spoof had this quest done already and told Questman what to bring. We give Rance the arrows, but there's a problem. There's no chompies to hunt. We need to attract the chompy birds by using their favorite food as bait, swamp toads that we inflate with swamp gas. Hey there, you keep missing the chompy bird. That's really funny. We insist that Rance lets us have a go with the bow, he agrees, and we're able to catch the friendly ogre some dinner. The needy bastard also wants us to cook it for him with his two sons' favorite ingredients, so do that for him as well, and that'll do it. Now, we can use an ogre bow too. Woohoo. We continue to help out the ogres, and next we help out Grish, who's told us of some undead ogres that have invaded Jigig, the home of the ogres. He warns us that we're bound to get sick from the undead flesh addicts.
Die, you undead flesh
Sounds
addict!
encouraging. He wants us to investigate, but gives us some supplies in case we do fall ill. We enter Jigig and immediately become diseased, which inflicts piss damage. Piss damage is not actually damage, but rather lowers one of our stats by a number of the hit splat every 18 seconds. That's what the restore potions are for. Quistman and I venture further into the ogre's cavern. We find a scene that we need to investigate, and searching this coffin will grant us a creepy and ominous black crystal, and investigating the skeleton will spawn a zombie that we must slay and then rummage through his backpack for more clues on what's going on here. It's clear this goes deeper than just some sick ogres. The first item from the zombies pack that we investigate is my new favorite quest item in the game. This thing's just sweet, I don't know, I like the little mug icon. The second is half of a page seemingly torn from a book. The tankard is inscribed with Ye Old Dragon Inn, and Questman has recently been drinking a lot to cope with the horror of our body fusion, so Questman knew exactly where to go and find this inn. We take the mug to the inn in Yanil, and the bartender tells us that it belonged to Brentel Vaughn, a regular at the tavern, to which we respond that no it doesn't because, well, Brentel's dead. We ask for any clues to his death, and the bartender tells us that he saw Brentel leave town with a rather shady-looking wizard, so we head to the wizard tower just next door and ask the most likely culprits. The wizard Zavistic Rarv, the Wizard Guild's secretary, will inform us that this looks like the workings of necromancy by some dark wizard. He tells us to check with a wizard who goes by the name of Sithis Ince, who's been doing research in the area, and he's lodged here right in town. Luckily for us, we're not the only ones who have caught a disease during this quest because Sithik is unable to leave his lodge due to falling ill. We ask Sithik if he knows anything about the undead ogres over at Jigig, which of course he doesn't, so Quistman and I treat him with the absolute shittiest of attitudes, telling him that, well, he should have no problem if we root around through his stuff to make sure he's not involved while he's sick and unable to move. I don't know about you Brits that made this game, but Americans like a little something called privacy. We invade his privacy as an investigator and search his room anyway.
I'm respecting your privacy by knocking, but asserting my authority as your father by coming in anyway!
And we do indeed find a few clues. First, there's a book here written by the founder of Ham, and we already know how Ham feels about monsters, including ogres. The book contains a rally cry for those who hate monsters to come join the Ham movement. Awfully suspicious. Next, there's a book on necromancy, so that's some pretty damning evidence. Not to mention there's half a page torn out from the book, fitting the one that we found in the backpack from earlier. Quistman and I throw our hands up and go, okay, come on, it was him! So we present these pieces of evidence to him, and of course, he has some excuses loaded and ready to fire. We think this is enough evidence, but before we leave, we take a sketch of the wizard to show the bartender to see if the sketchy-looking wizard that he saw from earlier matched the description. Showing this sketch will confirm that it is indeed the man who left town with Brentel, for the bartender couldn't forget those eyes. We ask the bartender to sign the portrait as a witness, and we present this evidence to the secretary. Then of course, like any sane person, Zavastig gives us a truth potion to drug Sithik with so we can get a confession. I don't like Runescape's justice system very much. We slip the potion into his tea anyway because we really don't care that much about any morals, but after some time passes, Sithik will be telling us the truth. Jesus Christ, he's an ogre. The ogre effect will lift once he is told the truth about the matter, and this horrifying experience is enough to make him tell. He admits that he had Brentel try to cast the necromancy spell so the zombie ogres would wipe out the rest of the ogres. He then tells us what we can, or rather can't do to fix the site so the ogres can continue with their ceremonies. The spell he cast is permanent, so the ogres are going to have to move the site elsewhere. We return to Grish to tell him this, and we have to enter the site to get rid of the zombie ogres and go get some crucial ceremonial items that the ogres will need if they wish to move. Quistman and I are close as we search for the ceremonial pieces deep within the cavern when... Nice drop! Upon returning the artifact to Grish, that will enable them to build the ceremonial site away from the cursed grounds that they once called home, and complete our quest. Hey, Quistman, a certain Dr. Fenkenstrain is in need of a brain-dead butler. Sounds right up your alley. Spoof, stop. You're almost becoming likable. We hear the call for a brain-dead butler, and the doc gives us a quick interview. After, we are granted acceptance for the job, and Fenk asks us to go and find some dead things for him to stitch together, and gives us no further instruction. To get a lead on where to find body parts, we ask the gardener about Fenkenstrain. He tells us that the castle used to be full of people and life, until they slowly, one by one, disappeared until the dock was the only one left standing. There isn't even a lord to the castle anymore, just the dock and the undead gardener. We then decide to ask what the hell happened to the gardener's head, and he tells us that he was minding his own business in the haunted woods when all of a sudden his head was cut off. What rotten luck. How about you tell me where this went down so I can go there and pay my respects? It seems that we are now full-time grave robbers, as we have to find 2 parts of an amulet that are in the castle to open this crypt and rob the next grave for the next body part. Dear Lord, listen to yourself, Quistman. Problem is, there are no body parts down here, but we do uncover a terrible truth about the old doc upstairs. That being that these are his experiments. We kill one of them to find a key, and environmental storytelling would point out that this creature was so close to escaping that it even had the key to freedom. We use it instead to work through the cave and onto the island where 3 more graves are to be robbed. We hit the mother lode with this because now we have the necessary parts to give to Fenkenstrain, who will stitch them together and make this monstrosity. Without question about what the hell the consequences might be, Quistman and I ask what else we might be able to do to help make the body more lively. The doc will tell us that he's going to harness the power from the lightning storm above the castle to shock life into the self-made corpse. We think that's a great idea and do an overly complicated fix for the lightning rod that's on the roof, just in time to catch a bolt of lightning right in front of our eyes. Checking on the monster downstairs will lead to a gulp moment, because it doesn't seem to be there, meaning it very well could have gotten up and left. The doc says that he tricked the monster into the tower of the castle where he awaits us to go and destroy it because the doc claims that it's out to kill him. So of course we do as we're told and we set off to the tower to check on the beast. Inside, we don't find a monster, instead we find out that the brain that we stole from Canifis that I absolutely completely forgot to mention belonged to none other than Rologarth, leader of the North Coast and former owner of this very castle. Rologarth will tell us that many people once lived here beside him, but Fenkenstrain convinced Rologarth to sell off all the others to the vampires. I can't say that if someone can convince you to do something so heinous that I can feel much sympathy for you at all, but alright. He asks that we keep Fenkenstrain from doing his experiments on anybody else, which he didn't really care about before, but is something I can agree with, so we head downstairs to confront him. He refuses to let us leave after we tell him that we know the truth, and the quest finishes by pickpocketing the doc for this ring of Charos? I've always wondered why the quest finishes here, because after we steal the ring that protects the doc from the werewolves in town, which is what that ring of Charos does, we send him cowering into the tower and then we can talk to the new old owner of the castle and tell him of our accomplishment. He will tell us to keep the ring as werewolves only crave live flesh and he doesn't got any of that anymore. And now the quest is actually complete with a real finish. But dang. That's a crazy one. That's always been one of my favorite quests, and I'm sure it's a fan favorite as well. Before we can offload King Rold's crown, we first have to make nice with some of the pirates. So Rum Deal starts off by talking with Pirate Pete, where we yet again are tasked with finding a lost family sword. We're forced into volunteering for free as he gives us a sob story about his poor family and how downtrodden they are. Demon Slayer Part 3 begins as we are tasked with killing the demon Baralor who guards Pirate Pete's family sword. Just kidding, it's still Rum Deal. Well, it seems like Pirate Pete tricked us. After being bagged like cargo and taken to the top secret island, we're presented to Captain Braindeath. He will gaslight us into believing that we already agreed to help him, which we indeed did by accepting the quest, so I'm kind of unsure why he knocked me out and kidnapped me because I was the first person who was actually willing to help, but hey, they don't call him Captain Braindeath for nothing. The captain will present the tired trope of zombies, and of course the zombies are protesting? Wait just a minute, we might have ourselves a real quest here. The zombies are protesting because they want rum. Or maybe they're protesting because they don't want the production of rum here? I don't know, but they're mad, and Braindeath will have us gather the ingredients to the rum so that we can then give it to the pirate zombies captain, and that will give him enough alcohol to keep him settled down. If this isn't done, he would then be forced to move production of the rum elsewhere. Right, this makes perfect sense. We go through some trials to gather all the ingredients, adding them to the correct rum distillery machines, and eventually making the rum. But there's one more problem before we can extract the rum and drunken the zombie pirate captain. The machinery is haunted. Is this thing supposed to fucking be doing this? What the fuck is going on? Yo, I think the controls really are possessed. I think they're right, bro. That's crazy. Oh, that's what I'm supposed to be hitting. The power of God. Oh, shit. Fuck. How do I kill this spirit? Oh, I just whack it. Yeah. What is this thing supposed to be? Is that like a shark with arms? It is evil looking, but what is this fucking thing? What the hell? We're not finished here yet, though, as now that the machine is working, the rum still needs a carcass of a fever spider from the basement in order to be complete. We obtain this and head outside with the finished rum to give it to the captain. The captain will hit us with a barrage of nonsense as he grows progressively more drunk from chugging the entire bucket of rum, and eventually he will let slip the name of his captain, Rabid Jack. We can return to Braindeath to tell him that the plan didn't work and that the captain just spouted a bunch of nonsense about Rabid Jack. To this, he will spit out his rum and proclaim, Rabid Jack! He is of no importance at all, and I've never heard of him before, and that we shouldn't worry about him, as now we surely have enough rum to keep the zombies at bay, and there will be no problems. What? All of that plan was incredibly contrived, from the knockout scheme to the gathering and fixing of the rum machinery and supplies. I wonder if we're being told the whole truth here, or if something fishy is going on, but that will complete our quest. While walking the ports of Mauritania, a pirate named Bill Teach will beckon us over with a quest in tow. He will explain that he needs a brave adventurer's help because he got into a war of words last night with another captain who has now vowed to sink his ship next time that Bill leaves the dock. His crew has abandoned him and his ship, the Adventurous, because of this, and he correctly states that he will never make it back to the pirate hangout in Mostly Harmless without some sort of crew. Apparently, feline assistance is almost never accepted in Gillinor, so Bill accepts help from just me and we set sail as a duo. The enemy begins to blast holes dangerously close to our heads as Bill and I have a painfully long conversation. Bill will stand idle on the deck while we do all the hard stuff, which includes patching those pesky holes in our ship. Bill says carpe diem, go plunder what we can plunder from the other ship and then get to shooting back. Wrestle with the 12th century technology over and over again, which is incredibly finicky, until you direct impact a pirate. 1 is all we need to count for the quest though, and then putting 3 holes into the enemy ship will be enough to have Bill and I making it safely back to Mostly Harmless. This is when Bill gives us our official pirate title, along with a book that will help us with pirate speak. Since we are now a pirate who can lounge the day away on Mostly Harmless, we also have access to the final pirate quest. The Great Brain Robbery begins with Brother Tranquility, who looks like he's drank too much Nyquility, telling us that he has a rather complicated problem for us to help with. He will teleport us away to assist him and his group of monks on Harmony Island, which is going through a stage of not-so-harmonious times. The Saradomin monks use the remoteness of the island to peacefully translate books, and they've struck a deal with the pirates who have agreed not to rob the monks so that they can receive the occasional blessing. Fair trade, I suppose. Pirates don't have much use for books that aren't translated to the broken English that they speak. Well, all was seemingly doing well until the monks were loudly awoken by pirates crashing on shore, and when the monks went to investigate, they were invaded by zombie pirates. We hesitantly ask if the zombies seemed rather drunk, but luckily the priest says that they were of normal shambling for a zombie. Well, the monks were knocked out, and once awoken, one overheard the leader of the Zyrites, Migor, bragging that he had made an enhanced zombie. To make a long story short, Migor had stolen these priests' brains and put their brains into zombies' heads. The priests' real bodies are in the basement, and so this is obviously quite a problem. Nyquility tells us that there is a flooded tunnel underneath the statue on this island, and that we should take it to the mausoleum where the leader is held out. We sneak that way and listen in on their plans. Migor is following orders from Rabid Jack, the secret leader of the drunk pirates from earlier, and Migor is here on the island performing sleeping gas production to engulf the entire island of monks and use their brains to create non-decaying, enhanced zombie brains. We inform the brother of this, and he says that we must act quickly and go to the monastery in Edgeville to find a prayer book that we can use to ward off the disease, pestilence, and the like. We obtain this and return to the brother with haste. After we bless the granary from disease and protect the brothers inside, Brother Nyquility will task us with finding a brain surgeon, requesting Dr. Fenkenstrain by name. We ask why he would ever want that twisted doctor that lives atop of a haunted hill in Mauritania, but we're quickly reminded that no one else around Gillinor is really trained in the way of brain surgery. He also mentions that this act will give Fenkenstrain a chance to be forgiven for his sins of meddling around in the head of man, which is oh so ironic. The doc agrees to help, but we have to get him past the werewolves in town if we want him to leave the castle, because obviously he no longer has the ring that we stole from him. We organize a plan with the local meatpacker to instead pack Man and ship Dr. Fenkenstrain to Harmony Island. The plan works, and the doctor is ready to help, save for a few preparations we have to complete before he can complete a surgery. He needs a cranial clamp, that's wild, brain tongs, wilder, 3 bell jars, and 30 skull staples. Oh, and a hammer. The zombies in the monastery must have at least one of those items if they did the initial surgery, so we think it best to take them out anyway and obtain those tools. The zombies have sealed the passage and barred the doors, so we have to take some gunpowder from a nearby ship and blast the doors open. Clearing out the zombie doctors will grant us the tools necessary for Fenkenstrain to perform his best handiwork, in which the footage will be replaced with this cat playing with yarn. Quistman and I detest our eyes, but the surgery is a success, and we should be able to speak with the healed monks once our headaches fade. We tell Brother Tranquility that we are off to kill Migor, and he insists that we prepare for a tough battle, as Migor surely has a bodyguard. A quick change of clothes, and Quistman and I are ready for whatever the zombies can throw at us. I didn't expect them to throw this at us, though. Luckily, we can safe spot the barrel-chested brain rather easily. We inform the brothers of our victory, but Migor was able to slip away into the water, but not before mentioning once again the name Rabid Jack, the unseen puppet master of the zombie pirates. However, defeating the zombie pirates once again, the monks thank us and reward us for our efforts, and this completes the great brain robbery. It's just too bad that the only pirates we met were more interested in drinking rum and getting brains, because Quistman and I still have to hawk this crown before the king finds out. Hey Quistman, I've been thinking, and maybe we should just keep the crown for ourselves, as a little souvenir to our adventures. What? I thought we needed the money. You know what though? I kinda agree. It was a dumb, drunken expenditure to begin with, and it would be risky to try to dump such a hot item. Maybe we should hold on to it for a bit, but just for safety, don't think it's sentimental. Aw, come on, these weren't the type of quests that Quistman was looking for. I'm having fun on these missions, but don't think that means I like you. I'd be having just as much fun without you. Well, I'm glad you're here. I know the circumstances aren't great, and we probably wouldn't be so close if we weren't so close, but I like thinking that we might have more in common than just our DNA. I mean, yeah, if you didn't kidnap my body and basically steal multiple months of my life, I'm sure I wouldn't hate you nearly as much. I'm willing to put up with you because we've met plenty of characters already that would be way worse to be stuck with. I can't imagine being stuck with one of those idiots in the White Knights. What was that? I don't know. I feel weird. I feel closer to you, actually. Do you think that feeling is us slowly becoming better friends and drifting apart from each other's bodies, separating like the old man said? I wouldn't call us friends, but I think you might be right. I just wonder if there's a way that we could speed up the process. Want to make out? Damn it, you are funny. I actually am going to learn to like you, aren't I?
I'll be waiting around and around and around. I'll be waiting for you to the least fall down. I'm in love. Fuck it, I'm in love.